Hi, I'm John Arana, and this is Karina San Martin, our daughter.
Hey,
and
everybody.
we are here at the drop.
We're
dropping
here
truth
again.
and bringing life. And
Yes.
so we're going to continue the series of Stay in the Game.
Mm-hmm.
God wants you to stay in the game,
Yeah.
and you can stay in the game,
That's
and you
right.
can overcome. And so we're
Good.
here talking about all these different awesome subjects.
And if
But-
you didn't catch last week, make sure you catch it
Oh,
because
man. Yeah.
it was even just encouraging to me to
Yeah.
really push through some things, and
Yeah.
it's a good one. So
Yeah. So anyhow, so we're going to talk a little bit more about play with pain.
Mhm.
Last time we talked about just keep going, just
Yeah.
keep going. This time we're going to talk about a little more specific about play with pain.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of the greatest athletes, some of the greatest achievements in the world have persevered even
Yeah.
in the midst of pain.
Right.
And they've sharpened their skill
Yeah.
through pain, and they've even brought amazing levels of victory and accomplishments through pain. So it's kind of like giving birth a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. It really made me, as we were just kind of prepping for this, it really reminded me of one of my birth stories. We have 3 kids, and both our first 2 kids, they were smooth sailing. The births were like,
Easy.
oof, they were so great. I got my epidural. I was like chatting. I was napping.
Oh yeah, we were shocked. We were in the hospital room, and you're going like, I'm having a contraction.
Excuse me.
And we're going like,
You are?
what? And we're Karen and I looked at us because we did it all natural, you know,
Natural,
way
yeah.
back,
Yeah.
back. And we were like,
Man.
what were we thinking? This is awesome.
Yeah, it was really smooth, very
Yeah.
smooth. And but our third one, with Leo, it was not so smooth. And I had been in labor for a while because it was my third one. I kind of knew like, okay, I'm having these contractions, and we were actually in the middle of something for Sergio for an art show, so I didn't want to make him panic, so I wasn't saying anything because they weren't bad, it was just the beginning. And anyways, long story short, we go home and I tell him, you know what, I think I'm in active labor. Let's call mom. Let's go to the hospital. So we go to the hospital, and the nurse that checks me in, she's like, well, I want to keep you here in the waiting room, for an hour and keep checking you. And I'm like, lady, this is my third kid. Like, I'm in labor. I know. So she was like, I'll come back and check on you.
Oh,
so I'm
man.
like, okay. So all of a sudden, I was there for like 40 minutes. My water breaks. And like really breaks, like in the movies breaks.
That means it's happening.
Yeah, and so I yell, "My water broke! My water broke!" So she comes over and she's like, "Wash, wash, wash!" She's like, "We need to bring her up." And so like it's already like this frantic
now
thing,
it's panic
right?
time.
This frantic
Panic
thing.
time.
And so they get me in the elevator,
Yeah.
and I'm feeling it. Like while I was waiting there, I was crying with my
my
contractions, and I even
God.
told my husband, this is not okay. Like
Yeah.
I've had babies before, and
This-
I've never been in this much pain.
This is hurting. Oh man.
So they get me in the elevator, and
Uh-huh.
I am like feeling this pain.
Oh
I
my
start
God.
screaming. It literally was like a movie scene, like the dramatic movie scenes. I am screaming, and I'm like,
Oh my God.
So they're in the elevator, and so they get me into the room, and everybody is like rushing.
Hey, what's Sergio doing?
Sergio is like wide-eyed, like, oh my gosh, my wife is losing it right now. And I was losing it.
Oh my Lord.
And so they look at me in the middle of all of this, and they're like, we need you to move from this bed to this bed.
Yeah.
And I look at them, and I'm like, I can't move myself. So they pick me up, they move me over, and so the nurse comes in, and I'm screaming.
God.
I forget how to breathe totally because I didn't prepare for this.
Right,
I was going to
exactly.
get my epidural,
Everything
and when they got me in the room, I looked at the nurse and I said, "I can get my epidural, right?" She looked at me and she said, "Oh, sweetheart,
We're past that
she
point."
said no. And I even saw the anesthesiologist like come up, and I saw him peek through the curtain, and he knew. He was like, "Nope, I'm too late."
Not gonna happen.
So
Oh,
I'm
my
feeling
gosh.
this pain, and the nurse looks at me and she says,
Yeah.
"You need to breathe." And then Sergio tells me, "You need to breathe." And I looked at all of them and I said, "I can't breathe." Because I couldn't. That's why they teach you those classes, how to breathe, because you forget how to breathe.
Yeah.
So anyways, then they check me, and the nurse is like, I need you to not push. And I'm like, this baby is coming. So somebody needs to catch this baby. And I said, I'm pushing. And so she was like, okay. It was like a young nurse, you know. She was just, not the doctor, nothing. And I said, I'm pushing. And so they're like, whoosh, 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 whoosh. They're moving all this stuff around. And I'm in so much pain. And so I push like 1, 2, boom.
Boom.
And the baby comes out. Leo comes out like a freight train. And anyways, all that to say, like, painful moments.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes you have to push through it.
You have to push through
because the moment will stay painful until you push through it. And then on the other side was... Right. I mean, the most joyous thing that I'm crying. And I'm like,
I'm loving it.
And they're like, are those happy tears? And I'm like, yes, they're happy tears, And you got to push through to get to that beautiful moment that's on the other side.
That's right. So. It's amazing. It's an awesome story, by the way, Karina. and it's like amazing how you bring forth life through labor.
Yeah.
It's weird, man. You bring forth life through a process of pain. Yeah, that kind of reminds me of the scripture in 2 Corinthians 4, 8, and 10. It says, the Apostle Paul says, we are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed.
Yes.
We're perplexed, but not in despair. He says we're persecuted, but we're not abandoned. He said we are struck down. That means that somebody knocked you out.
Man.
But we're not destroyed.
Yeah.
We always, he says always, we always carry around in our body the death of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So that the life of Jesus may also be revealed in our bodies. So I think this is something that we don't like to talk about too much in Christianity. But the fact is that we see here that life is produced through a process of labor and pain.
Right, yeah.
It's like, you brought this amazing gift of God, life, through this amazing process.
Let's call it amazing.
Pain and oh my gosh.
Struggle and uncomfortable moments.
But that's what's required to bring forth life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that
so
there's a principle there. The evolution of life happens through a process of pain.
Yeah.
And a lot of people look at, very successful people or anyone that's having any success, and they're saying, wow, man, you make it look easy, or they think like,
look
man,
at
this just happened, and it's like somebody said about a very well-known preacher, they told him, man, it looks like you just came up overnight.
Where'd you come from?
Yeah, and he said, that was the longest night of my life,
Oh, man.
But people don't realize the struggle and the perseverance and the setbacks and the disappointments and pain. But if you stay in the game, even with pain,
that's right,
then you will be rewarded.
That's right.
This beautiful life, this beautiful business, this beautiful ministry, marriage, family will evolve through that entire process.
Yeah, and it reminds me, and it really makes me think about the importance of pushing through the pain, because it's also like pushing through pain is and getting through that pain is not just about me.
That's right.
It's not just about us. It's also about other people.
That's right.
In our lives, around us.
Yeah.
And like the very, very literal example of birth.
Yeah.
Pushing through the pain, I had to push through that for the health of the child.
Yeah, it wasn't all about you.
It wasn't all about me. I mean, if it was about me, I would have just said, I am not having fun. This is not,
we're done here.
I don't like this. I can't breathe. I can't focus. This hurts like crazy. I don't want to do this.
I don't want to play anymore.
Like, okay, this isn't fun anymore. But the purpose of pushing through the pain
Yeah.
was also for the little person
That's right.
that was coming into life.
Yeah.
And us pushing through our pain, sometimes it literally is life or death.
That's right.
It's about our marriage, or
That's
it's
right.
about our personal health, or it's about, our family, or it's about our job.
Yeah.
And pushing through that pain, it goes beyond just us.
That's right. That's right. And just to add a little bit to that, it also it's not really only about us, but it's also about the people around us.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also about God's purpose in our life.
Oh, that's good.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, there's something that God wants to birth forth through us, in us, and it's also about that. I mean, look,
that's really good.
Leo is a gift of God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's a divine purpose in his life.
Right.
So it wasn't only about you, and it's not just about him, but it's also about the design and the purpose of God.
That's so good.
Through for his life. But a lot of people, I tell people, look, if you depend on always feeling great,
right,
and finances always being up, everybody doing right by you.
Oh man!
If you depend on all that to stay in the game,
what a beautiful, perfect life. Who has that?
That's right, man. I mean, that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You might catch a little glimpse here and there, but it's like that's not life.
Right.
That's the movies or something, but that's not real life. But, if you depend on all that to stay in the game, you'll never stay in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because part of the game is pain, but God sustains us and gives us strength and gives us wisdom and give us people that love us and give us people around us that will help us and sometimes carry us, you know?
Yeah.
And so I tell
That's
people,
so good.
listen, even if you're hurting, just keep serving.
Yeah.
Even if you feel like you're not perfect, just keep helping people.
Right.
Because we could all make excuses.
Yeah,
we could all say, well, I'm tired, or I'm disappointed, or I got some sour experience with someone, or there's something I don't like. We could all make excuses to sit out.
Right. Yeah.
And make excuses to give up on our marriage. We make excuses to give up on God, to give up on our business, on our dream. Whatever it is, we could all make excuses.
That's
but the
true.
bottom line is, if you're going to come out on the other side, if you're going to do that touchdown, if you're going to do that goal, you have to stay in the game even though it hurts.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I see always, and at least for me, and any painful experience that I've ever had, whether it's physical pain or emotional pain, whatever it is, that there is, and it's always hard to see it in the moment because you're living in that pain, but there is beauty in pain.
Yeah.
When you push through the pain, when you get through the pain, there's beauty that comes of it because it really becomes a part of your story.
Yeah.
And it becomes a part of what can make you stronger if you allow that issue or that moment to make you stronger, and you do push through that.
Yeah.
And I think that if you are going through something right now, to just remember that, even though it might be hard to see it in the moment, that, hands down, 10 times out of 10, when I look back on those painful times, I can see, wow, that really did make me stronger. Even though it was really hard and I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I'm done with it.
Yeah, that's right.
It made me stronger.
It made you stronger, and it stretched you to grow, because we grow through challenging situations, and I think that people will always let us down. I mean, it's human nature.
Right.
We will let other people down.
We'll let ourselves down.
Yeah, that's for sure. I've done that a lot. But anyhow, that's part of life.
Right.
That's part of the interaction of human nature and human beings, and that's why Jesus puts so much focus on love. Loving people, loving one another, act in a way that's in the best interest of people around you. And I think that when you understand these things and you accept them as truth, then it's easier to stay in the game even though you have pain, even though you're struggling.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's been times in my marriage that it's been painful. You know, it's been hard to face certain truth and deal with certain things, but you stay in it, and as you stay in it, you keep chipping away and you keep growing one step at a time, and God rewards it. You know, there is a reward for those people that hang in there, and people will realize that on the other side of that point where I say I really want to throw in the towel, on the other side is the victory.
Yeah.
It's the change. It's the reward.
Yeah.
And so
That's
it
so
doesn't
good.
matter if people let you down. It doesn't matter. In fact, I'll say this.
Yeah.
God used Judas
The one who
to
betrayed
take Jesus to the cross.
Right.
Jesus would have never gone to the cross if it hadn't been for Judas. So thank God for your Judas.
That's so good. That
Thank
most of us
God.
do not feel or do.
Yeah. I mean, thank God for the people that disappoint you, because God will use that to do something bigger in you.
Yeah.
To
That's
bring
so
out
true.
something better in you.
Yeah.
It can make you bitter or it can make you better.
Yeah. And it is up to us what we do,
That's right.
especially if we're hurt by somebody else.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it is up to us what we do with that.
Yeah, totally.
And, you know, chances are that person that, you know, that hurt you, whether it was intentional or unintentional, you know, they're dealing with their own stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why that happened.
That's
you
right.
know, and
Exactly
so
right.
you can become that person
Yeah.
that also hurts other people because
Exactly.
you don't deal with your own things.
Yeah.
Or you can become that better
Yeah.
person, that better version. And
Yeah.
you know,
Somebody said hurt people.
hurt people.
Hurt people.
Right, yeah. And I think the flip side of that is healed people.
That's right.
Heal people.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
and I think that one thing that's really important when you are dealing with either discouragement or pain or hurt, whatever that is to find something intentionally that you can shift your mentality or
That's
shift
good.
your focus
Yeah.
or shift your mindset.
Yeah.
And there's two things that make me think of that. In 2 Corinthians 10:5, there's a verse and it says, we take captive every thought and make it obedient to Christ.
That's good, yeah.
And I think our thoughts, it's worth talking about our thoughts when we're dealing with pain and hurts and issues, because our thoughts are our most powerful tool.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, and
it's a force.
Yeah, it is a force. It can make us go deeper in, or it can help us slowly crawl out of it, you know?
Exactly.
And then also something
true.
that you have here is the best thing you can do when you're hurting is to go help somebody
Go
else.
help somebody else.
And I can attest to
That's
that. I
the
know we
best
both
thing.
can.
Yeah.
That it creates this different energy in your mind and your heart and your spirit that you're like, yeah, I'm hurt or I'm hurting, but I still have something to give to somebody else. I'm still valuable.
Yeah.
I can still make a difference. I can still help somebody, even in the midst of my
That's
pain.
right. Yeah, I think that brings me to something that I've been learning lately, and it's that there's someone better than me inside of me. That's Christ within me.
That's so good.
And there are times when I don't want to do the right thing. You know?
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to go.
I can relate.
I don't want to go to my wife and say, I'm sorry, honey.
I was wrong.
I was wrong.
I was so wrong.
I don't want to do that, you know? And that's
does?
me. But there's somebody inside of me
That says.
that's better than me. That says, oh no,
And
this
that's
is what you need
Jesus.
to do.
That's so
you need to
good.
go over there. And I think that when I do that, when I act according to that better person inside of me, then things change.
Yeah.
You know, and as I tell people, motion produces emotion.
That's good.
People say, well, I don't feel like doing it.
Well,
I say, well, you're not going to feel like doing it until you do it.
right.
Do it, and then you're going to feel it.
Right.
You know, do it, and then you're going to change your state.
Yes.
And because action is the only thing that produces results.
That's true.
So like you were saying, the best thing you can do when you're hurting, you're down, you're discouraged, is just go help somebody else.
Yeah.
And you play the game
Yeah.
even in pain.
Yeah. And I think remembering even though you might be in pain or hurting, you still have Jesus.
There's something
dwelling
big
inside of you.
Yeah.
And, sometimes it might feel like you have to dig really deep down in there to find that force of Jesus inside you in those moments.
He's in there somewhere.
But he's there. And he wants to help you through your pain. He wants to help you find the beauty in those moments. And you're not alone, even when you do feel alone.
Well, I want to close with these 3 quotes from my spiritual father,
I love these.
Dr. Edwin Lewis Cole. He said, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. Mm-hmm. He also said, tough times never last, but tough people do.
I like that one.
And the last one is, champions are not those who never fail, but are those who never quit.
That's right.
So stay in the game.
Stay in the game.
Keep taking one step at a time.
That's right.
Because your reward will come and your victory will come at the right time.
That's right.
So anyhow, I'm John Arana. This is Karina San Martin.
Yep.
And we are here at The Drop, dropping truth and bringing life. And we really hope that this has been encouraging to you. Pass it on to somebody else. Tell somebody else so they can get encouraged as well. So God bless you. We'll see you on the next episode.